Okay, we begin today the Gemara on Daf Kuf Nun Hey Amud Beis, 3 lines from the bottom of the Amud where it says Omar Ameimar. Okay, so the Gemara here is discussing the halacha that I mentioned before regarding a person that inherits from his father properties, that even though usually we say that at the age of 13, bar mitzvah, that's when you're a bar das, you become chayiv mitzvahs, but nevertheless here Chachamim instituted that he should not sell any properties until he's 18, according to one opinion, or 20, according to another opinion. Okay, so now based on this, the Gemara continues and says, Omar Ameimer said, Baru matnosai matana. But if he's giving it as a gift, any of these properties, so then the gift will take effect even from age 13. This limitation, you have to wait until 18 and 20, does not apply by a gift. Amalei Ravashi la Meimar. So Ravashi asks Meimar about this. Why should we say that by a gift it would take effect? Hashta now mazvini, if when he wants to come and sell any of these properties, the Mekabel Zuzi, and he's getting money for this. So Amrit, you said that he should not be allowed to sell any of these properties because Dilme Moizel Mazbin. Maybe he's going to sell for a cheap price. He's not going to evaluate it properly, or he's going to be offered a price and he's going to take it. So and therefore he's going to lose. So Kol Shekain Matana. So then definitely, if he's giving it as a gift, Deloi Motile Veloi Midi, and he's getting nothing for this, definitely he shouldn't be allowed to just give it away as a gift. In other words, the basis of Rav Ashi's question is, the more you see it's possible for him to lose here, because he's getting nothing, the more svara there should be that he should not be allowed to sell or to give away. So why are you making this distinction and saying that a gift, that he could give? Amalei, so Ameim asked Rav Ashi back on his question, according to your reasoning that you're saying that this is all based on whether he's making profit here or he's losing, and the concern over here is that he may be losing out. If so, how about a case of Zavin Shavi Chamshi B'shita? If this is a child, or he's already over bar mitzvah, he's 13 years old, and we're concerned about him selling his father's properties. What happens if he sells, though, a property that's worth 5 and he sold it for 6? He actually sold it for more than its value. So Hachanami Zvini. Are you going to say that in this case the sale will take effect because we see that he's actually making more profit over here? That can't be, because when Chachamim made this takana that this child should not sell until he's 18 or 20, there was no distinction made that we have to look and see whether he's making more profit or less. If this is someone that the Gemara before said, if this is someone that we know that's not bucky, that doesn't know business and commerce, we don't let him sell anything, even if he's selling it for more. So what's the reason for this? Why did Chachamim not allow him to sell at all? The reason is because Kimluhu Rabbanan, the Rabbanan know the Yunuke Mekarve Daite Gabizuzi, that this child or this young person after Bar Mitzvah already, so he wants money. He's looking to have cash. So if you're going to allow him to sell even before he's 18 or 20 years old, so here the main problem is the fact that people are going to come and take advantage of him. Zimnin the Mekakishile Zuzi, people are going to come and dangle money in front of his eyes, and therefore, and he's going to end up selling all the properties of his father for this money that people are going to offer him. So it's because of the fact that people could take advantage of him in such a way. That's why by a sale we say that he can't sell. But when it comes to a gift, so over here nobody is dangling money in front of him. Nobody is offering him any money. So if not for the fact that there's someone that really gave him a very high level of benefit that he wants to give something in return, he would not be stopped giving it as a gift to anybody. So therefore, in such a case, Chacham are not concerned. So therefore, Chachamim said, if he gives it as a gift, let the gift take effect. In other words, Chachamim are not concerned that this young adult will go and give him matana and give it away like a fool without anything. That's not what the concern over here was. And even regarding selling the property, when he's selling it underpriced, it's not, the point there is not really the fact that we're concerned that he might sell it something that's underpriced. Rather, the main concern over here is that money that he sees that people are offering him, people can try to seduce him into selling something because they know that he wants money. But by a matana, that concern that people will take advantage of him does not apply, because even this young adult, he's not going to give something away stamazeh. He's not getting any money. He's going to give it if it's something that someone did him a matana, did him a taiva, that is.
But kids do that. They give away things.
No, but this is not mamish
their
kids.
best
No.
friend.
Okay, true, but we're not talking about little kids here. We're not talking stam about
13,
shaitim.
14, no?
Yeah, a 13, 14-year-old, he's not going to give it away stam as a person owns a property, stam to give it away to someone. Adarabah, the Rashbam says that Chachamim allow him to sell it in order that people should be interested in doing favors for him. People should be interested in helping him out, because they know that they can get a gift from him in return. So this is all for his favor, that he should be able to give it as a gift. Here, the Gemara actually itself says it. Sorry, here, look, the Gemara says that in order for people to help him and to do favors for him, and then he'll be able to give them a gift in return. So there's no reason to stop this young adult of giving this gift.
So what's the difference from a mecher? Mecher looks for a young
No, mecher, again, the fact that money, that people are going to take advantage of him. By a matana,
Get them another matana.
huh?
Get them
No, but by a matana though, a kanira, unless he gets a real valuable matana, he's not going to stam give it away for something that's under its value. Right? Money is something that's more enticing, and money, even if you get a money that's less than the price, but you have the money right now, that's enticing. But a matana is not as enticing. It has to be something which is actually something worth it for him, that he's going to give up a piece of karka for the taiva that they did him. Okay, now the Gemara, since we're discussing the halachas of a cotton here in this case, and a young adult benegay to selling, so the Gemara here says more generally as follows: Omer Rav Nachman Omer Shmuel, Boitkin, we have to inspect a child l'kiddushin. First of all, regarding marriage, if a child is getting married, or he's actually 13 years old, that's what we're talking about. He's exactly 13 years old. So now he's getting married. Now the marriage does not take effect if he's a cotton. So he has to be 13 years old, and he has to have the simonim in his body, the two sides, two hairs, to know that he's actually a gadol. So you have to be baidik by the kiddushin to see if he's actually married. Now, the point there of being baidikim is not for the purpose to know that we have to consider him to be married and to consider his wife to be an Ashes Ish. Whether you're baidikim, whether you're not, we're going to have to be machmer and consider his wife to be an Ashes Ish. But the Rashbam says the reason you would have to be baidikim over here is, what's if his wife goes and is makabel a kedushin from a second person? And now you want to be makel and say, oh, the first kedushin was nothing because he wasn't really a gadol yet. There was no simana that he's a gadol. So in order to know that for sure, you're going to have to be baidik the first kedushin, that you're going to have to baidik him to see whether the first kedushin was a kedushin or not. So then to know what happens if she wants to be makabel kedushin from someone else. That's the purpose of this. Now, there's a machlekes rishonim about this here. When you're baidik for kedushin, according to Taisvis, you don't always have to be baidik. A child that's getting married on the day of his bar mitzvah, you don't always have to go and check to see if he's a gadol. If the shaila comes up later, if his wife wants to be makabel kedushin from a second person, then you're going to have to be baidik. And it's interesting because that means that we might be baidik this person a month later, 2 months later, and we're still relying on inspecting his body 2 months later and determining according to that whether he was a gadol when he got married 2 months before. It's not really so effective. I mean, you're baidik him later, but accurate that is. But the reason why we're relying on that is because really, for every adult that's 13 years old, there is a chazakah. There's usually a presumption that his body already produced the signs of being mature and an adult. It's so even if with baidik a little later on, we can rely on that he's an adult. That's Taisus's pshat. But there's other Rishonim that say that not only later on when it's going to be negaya to his wife that wants to get married a second time, you have to be baidik, but right from the beginning, a child that's just bar mitzvah that wants to get married, you have to be baidik to see what's the story here. Is this a kedushin min hatayra? Is this kedushin taking effect? So you must be baidik then, before the first kedushin.
We did a Gemara yesterday, Masechtas Sanhedrin by Ben Sairu Maida. And over there, I believe it's Rava that holds that even if the child is 9 years old, and as long as there's bia,
that's a different halacha, okay, but that doesn't apply by kedushin. By kedushin, you have to be 13 years old in order for the kedushin to take effect. Now, legadishin. You also have to check benegay to gadishin. In order for a man to divorce his wife, he has to be a gadol as well. L'chalitza, and also for chalitza, you have to inspect to see if he, or as the Gemara will soon explain, that this applies not only to him but also to her. In order for the chalitza, in order to do chalitza, this is by the yibum, instead of yibum you do chalitza. So you have to also see that he or she is a gadol or gedayla. And ulimi'unin, also for mi'unin, which is a case where a cotton got married. This is not a marriage minatayra, but in a case where a person's father dies, and now Chacham or Misakin, that the mother or the brothers could marry her off, and until she becomes a Gedayla, she's able to refuse this marriage. Once she becomes a Gedayla, now she can't walk away. She can't refuse this marriage anymore. So over here we're going to have to check her to see that if, let's say, she's already 12 years old and she's already bas mitzvah, could she still refuse the marriage? So over here, if on that day that she's already bas mitzvah, she still wants to refuse the marriage. So if we check her and see that she's not a Gedayla yet, she still will be able to. So in this case, we're actually checking her to see the opposite, to see that maybe she's still a Katana. And also, and this goes back to what we spoke about before, v'limkar b'nichsei aviv, in order for someone to be able to sell the properties of his father, achi yehei ben esrim, until he's the age of 20, so you have to check him to see that if he brings shtei sidus or not as well over here. So this is, the Gemara explained this before, that when he's the age of 20, it's not just enough to be 20. You also have to have the physical signs in the body, the maturity, to know that he's a gadol in order to be able to sell. Okay, so now the Gemara goes through all the different things that all the halachas that were mentioned here. Now, frek the Gemara, the kiv and the bedakna l'kedushin, if we're already inspecting this person at the time when he's getting married to see if he's a gadol or not, so l'geir shalamali. Why does it say afterwards that then if he wants to divorce his wife, that you would have to inspect him regarding the divorce to see if he's a gadol or not? You already inspect him before. Taisus actually asks on the Gemara, according to the way Taisus learns this, like mentioned before, that you don't have to inspect his body when he gets married by Kedushin. If it would come up later, if his wife was Makabala Kedushin from someone else, you would have to, but you don't have to inspect him. So that's why it says that you have to inspect for Gedushin. So what's the Gemara asking? Taisus doesn't give an answer. But as I mentioned before, other Rishonim say that a person that's getting married on the day of his bar mitzvah, either way you have to inspect him. So according to that, we understand why the Gemara would ask. If so, if now he wants to divorce his wife, why do you have to inspect again? And says the Gemara, Le nitzrecha ela le yibum. The case of the Gedushin we're talking about over here is a case where a person could be married even before bar mitzvah, and that's by Yibum. By Yibum, you could be married even from age 9. The Tnan, as the Mishnah says, Ben Teisha Shana v'yoyim echad shebal yivimtoi, a child from the age of 9 years old, the bia, the act of relations, is something that he can do, and therefore that bia takes effect, and he's married. Shebal yivimtoi kana. He acquires her, and they become regular husband and wife. Even though by regular marriage it's not true, but by bia, by a yavam and a yavama, it takes effect. And they nice and get, and now he could divorce her.
Even there's no ceremony.
Correct. Of course, he's only 9 years old.
Yeah.
So now he cannot give a get though. Now after, even though he was a yavam, by a yavam usually if you don't do yibum, so there's chalitza. But once he does marry her, now they become regular husband and wife, and he can only divorce her by a get. But ve'ein nice and get, that's a yigdal. But he can't give a get until he is a gadol, until he's 13 years old, and he has the simonim. So it's here in this case that the Braisa is saying that he got married as a cotton, and now we're inspecting to see if he's a gadol by the get. L'chalitza.
Lower than 12, there's no miyun.
There's not the concept of miyun doesn't apply by yibum. No, it's either chalitza or get. Before yibum there's chalitza. After yibum it's just a get. L'chalitza. Then the Braisa says you're also inspecting to see whether the chalitza would take effect. Why does it have to mention chalitza separately? If by Gedushin you have to inspect to see, so the same should apply by chalitza. So here the chiddush for chalitza is la fukim de Rabbi Yosi. It's coming to exclude from Rabbi Yosi's opinion. So what the Gemara is going to explain over here is the chalitza we're talking about is not inspecting the man, but it's actually to inspect the woman, to see that she's a gedayla in order for the chalitza to take effect, and that excludes Rabbi Yosi's opinion. The Amar Rabbi Yosi said, Ish kosuv b'parsha, in the parsha by chalitza, from where we learn that it has to be an adult, that he has to be a gadol, it says ish, so that's only him, he has to be a gadol. Aval isha, but the woman, ben gedayla ben katana. For her, the chalitza can take effect whether she's a gedayla or a katana. Kamash Milan, therefore here we're saying that no, we're inspecting not only him but her as well. The makshinon isha leish, we compare the isha to the ish. Both of them have to be he has to be a gadol, she has to be a gedayla, and therefore we're inspecting her as well. The loy Rabbi Yosi, and we're not paskening like Rabbi Yosi's opinion. Ulimiunin, when it says here that you have to also inspect regarding miyun to see whether a girl at the age of 12. Maybe she still didn't bring simonim, and therefore she can still be memayin, she can still refuse the marriage. Says the Gemara la fukim with Rabbi Yehuda. What it's saying here excludes from Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, and Rabbi Yehuda actually gives her more time to refuse or to walk away from this marriage, even after she's already a Gedola, and even after she really has Simonim. Usually, what's the Simon to be a Gadol or Gedola by a boy or a girl? It's Shtei Sidus, just 2 hairs. But Rabbi Yehuda says that it's even later. The Omar Achi Yar B'Shocher. Rabbi Yehuda says it's not just 2 hairs, but until it's black, meaning she's already more mature. Until then, she could still walk away from the marriage. Kamash Malon, and therefore here it's putting miyun together with the others, kedushin, geidish, and chalitza, and all those cases. You're just being baited to see 2 hairs. By miyun, it's the same thing. The like Rabbi Yehuda, so we're saying over here, not like Rabbi Yehuda, that as soon as her body is mature, that there's 2 hairs, she will not be able to walk away from this marriage of this marriage with the Rabbanan. Now the last case, ulimka benichsei aviv, that if it's an adult that wants to be able to sell from his father's properties, Achie ben Esrim, and it says here that he has to be at age 20, and he also has to have the signs of Tishtei Sidus to be able to sell. La Fuke, so this is being brought here also to exclude from Miman da Omar, from the other opinion that we've mentioned before, which is Ben Shmai Nesra, that at 18 years old he can sell, and therefore we're saying here 20, as the halacha is that you can only sell when you're 20. Okay, now the Gemara concludes the halacha regarding many different details that we learned before here, and also in the previous daf. The Hilchaseh, the halacha here is Toichsman Kilifneizman. The Gemara before brought a machlokes. If it's age 20, what's about the year of 20 years old? Meaning when from 19 and a day, you're already into the 20th year, could you sell then? So we paskin that Toichsman, in that year, it's Kilifneizman. You're still underage. You can't sell until you're actually 20 and a day years old. And also the Hilchasik Gidl Bar Menashe, we paskin like what Gidl Bar Menashe said. The Gemara brought before, Gidl Bar Menashe said that a young adult, even from bar mitzvah, bas mitzvah, if it's yedei betiv masel matan, someone that knows business well, we see that he's not going to be taking advantage of anyone, so then we allow him to sell even before age 20. So we paskin like that as well. And also v'hilchase kemar zutre, we paskin like the halacha that Mar Zutra said that before regarding eidos, that when it comes to testimony, so as soon as you're bar mitzvah, you can say eidos, but only for metaltalin. But regarding karkois, saying eidos regarding a sale of properties where you have to evaluate the value of the property, so there you could only say eidos when you're 20 years old. And v'hilchase ka'ameimer, and the halacha is like ameimer, the first halacha we learned today regarding the fact that he can give a gift from bar mitzvah even before he comes to the age of 20. And v'hilchase Rav Nachman or Mashmul bekulu, and the halacha is like Rav Nachman or Mashmul regarding all these details that we just said, that we inspect him regarding kedushin, and gedish and chalitzim miyunim, as the Gemara just explained it. Here's where the Rashbam adds the point. I think I mentioned this yesterday, that when it said here that a child is not allowed to sell until he's 20, it doesn't refer to a property that he bought or got on his own. It only refers to the property of inheritance from a father. In such a case, he just gets it for free, and he gets it as an inheritance. So this is something that we're more afraid that people will take advantage of him, and he'll end up selling it underpriced. Okay. Zok Deilige Mishnah, going back to the halachas of a shchiv mira, that's giving a gift before he dies. Hamachalik nechosov al piv, a person that's distributing all of his properties just by his mouth. He's saying that he wants to give everything to people before he passes away. Rabbi Eliezer says, or Rabbi Lazar, in our Mishnah it says Rabbi Lazar, so my greatest Rabbi Eliezer, it says here Rabbi Lazar. Here Rabbi Lazar says, Echad bari ve'echad mesukin, whether this person is healthy, or even if this person is already on his deathbed, it doesn't make a difference. Rabbi Lazar here is going to argue on the entire premise that we learned until now, that we had in the Mishnayos, that, and in the Gemara, that a shchiv mira does not have to make a kinyan when he's giving a gift. He can give away the gift with just by his word, especially if he's mitzvah machmas misa. If he's commanding and he's saying clearly that he's giving away because he's passing away, then in such a case he does not have to make any kinyan. So Rabbi Lazar says that no, in such a case, a body, a person that's on his deathbed, a shchiv miras, the same thing. You have to make a proper kinyan in order for this gift to take effect. The chasam sheyeshla machrayes. So if it's properties that it's lands, properties that you have a guarantee with them because they don't go anywhere. So niknin, what's their kinyan? The kesef b'shtar b'chazakeh. Those are the regular 3 ways that you acquire a piece of land, whether with money or with a document or by taking possession over it, chazakeh. And if it's items that do not have a guarantee with them, it's just movable items, so their kinyan would be Meshicha or Meshicha is one of the options. It could be Meshicha, Gba, Mesira, different options of kinyanim that there are for metaltlin. Okay, so the point again is Rav Lazar holds that we don't apply this unique concept that Chachamim instituted for Shchiv Mirah. He has to always make a kinyan.
So he doesn't hold with Shchiv Mirah?
Yeah, he doesn't hold it for this whole takana of a Shchiv Mirah. You have to always make a proper kinyan. So Amrullah, the Chachamim said to Rabbi Lazar that said this. But there was a story that we see that it does take effect without a kinyan, because Maise be'iman shal b'nei Reichel. There was a story with the mother of the children that their father's name was Reichel. She was already ill and she's on her deathbed. And she said, give my brooch, a piece of jewelry, give it to my daughter. And she said its value is 12 mana. And there was no kinyan made her. She just said, give it. And then she died. V'kimu is the vara. And the Chachamim fulfilled what she said. And this was fulfilled without any kinyan. Okay, so the Rashbamir points out that even according to Rabbi Lazar, if it would be a case where this person that's dying is giving everything away, everything, and he's saying that he's only giving it because he's dying, that's what's called mitzvah machmas misa, then even Rabbi Lazar would agree that you don't need a kinyan. So in that case, yeah, Chachamim did institute. But in the case where you're giving some of your properties away, and you're clearly saying that you're only giving it away because you're dying, and then you would, what we learned before in the Gemara is that you would not need a kinyan for this. Here is where Rabbi Lazar argues and says that no, you still would need a kinyan. And that's what this case over here was. That the mother that gave away this brooch, it wasn't the only thing she had. It was one valuable piece of jewelry that she wanted to give away for her daughter. And so before the Gemara explained that regarding such a case, because she clearly said that she's mitzvah machmas misa, she's giving it away only because she's dying, you don't need a kinyan for this. But so the Chachamim asked Rabbi Lazar, why do you say that in such a case you would need a kinyan? So it should not take effect. Why do they fulfill what she said? So Amalehen, so Rabbi Lazar answered the Chachamim, B'nei Reichel. You're talking about this case, the sons of this individual by the name of Reichel. Tikbaram Iman. They deserve this. Their mother should bury them. The Gemara is soon going to say why this is. The only reason why Chachamim allowed her words to be in effect, not because really without a kinyan it should be in effect. Chachamim wanted to take away whatever they can from them because they deserve to be punished, as the Gemara will explain. But otherwise, you usually have to make a proper kinyan in order for this gift to take effect.
I mean, take away from them. The mother said to give it to the daughter.
Yeah. So and the Chachamim said to follow what the mother said, to give it to the daughter, which means to take it away from the sons. We're taking it away from the sons. So the Gemara Tanya, so in a Braisa we learned Rabbi Lazar said to the Chachamim, there was a story with an individual that came from Maroni, or maybe it probably means Miron, right? And which is in the further in the north of Eretz Yisrael. So he was in Yerushalayim, and he owned a lot of items, a lot of goods. Now, here in Yerushalayim, he wanted to give it as a gift to people or to someone, but he doesn't have it with him. All of his things are in Miran. So how is he going to give it as a gift? You need to have a proper kinyan in order for the gift to take effect. So Amrullah, they said to him, Eilam takana, the only way that we can institute for you that you're able to give a gift, it's only possible as follows. Ache yakne al gav karka. If you're going to have a piece of land here, and you're going to give the piece of land as a gift, along with this property, you're able to also give the metaltal, the movable items. This is the concept we learned many times before, together with karka. Agav karka, when you sell or give a gift karka, along with it, you can also sell or give the metaltal. That's the only thing that you can do. Okay, now the Gemara in Kedushin actually discusses this story barichas and explains why is this the only option? There's no other option. There's no other way that you can give a gift. There's no other option of a kinyan. Okay, but the Gemara here doesn't get into that. The Gemara says the continuation of what this person did. So halach, this person went. V'lakach beis sela echad samach l'Yerushalayim. He bought a piece of property that was a rocky area. And the reason why it's saying this, it's in other words, he looked for a cheap property. He wasn't interested in buying expensive, but a small, cheap piece of property. And then Va'amar, he said, Svainoi Leplaini, the north of this area of this property, I'm giving to so-and-so. And V'imoi Mei Etzayin, and along with this, I'm giving him a gift, 100 of my sheep, Umei Chavias, and 100 barrels as well. And a droimai, the south of this piece of karka that I have here, laplaini, I'm giving a gift to another person, and then the imai, and along with it, I'm giving a gift, may it sign 100 sheep, umei chavias, and 100 barrels as well. Umeis, and now this person passed away, the kiyum chachamim is dvarav. And chachamim fulfilled what he said. So now here, when you learn the simple pshat of the story, it sounds like that this was a person that was a shchiv merah. He was in his deathbed and he was looking to give his things away to people. And here you clearly see that Chachamim said to him, this could only be done with a proper kinyan. It can't just be done by his word. So this was the raya that Rabbi Lazar brought his opinion, that you need a kinyan. Amrullah, so the Chachamim answered and said to him, Misham raya. From there it's a proof. You misunderstood the story. Miraini bariyaya. This person from Iran, he was a healthy person. Later he passed away, but when he was giving this, he was a healthy person. That's why he had to make a proper kinyan. So there's no raya from that story. Amalan ben Amalahan. Now going back to the story in the Mishnah, when this mother gave away the brooch to her daughter, so Rabbi Lazar says that really it should not take effect there because there was no kinyan. But the reason why Chachamim said that give it to the daughter and take it away from the sons is because because their sons deserve this punishment. Let their mother bury them because of the isurim that they were over. So what exactly is this? What did they do wrong? Says the Gemara, my time kalayet lu. Why is he cursing them? Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel. So Rav Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel, mekaime kaitzim bekeren hayu, because they kept thorns growing amongst the vineyard, which is klayim. As Gemara is going to explain here, that according to Rabbi Lazar, this is an issue of klayim, and they're being over a lav. You're over on the lav of klayim, not only when you plant klayim, but even when you maintain klayim, and it continues growing there, one of 200th of its size that it is now, you're over on the issur of klayim. So they were over on this issur of this lav of klayim, and they kept it there like this. Now the Gemara explains, Rabbi Lazar l'taimei. This is Rabbi Lazar that's saying this, that this is an issue of klayim, even though we're only speaking about thorns. Thorns is not anything that's food, edible. But Rabbi Lazar follows his reasoning that none. As we learned in the Mishnah, Mekayim kaitzim bekeren, a person that leaves thorns amongst the vineyard. Rabbi Lazar says kiddush, that this will aser it. The word kiddush here means it will make it forbidden because it's kalayim. It's using the lashon of the pasuk pentikdash. The chachamim say like kiddush. No, this will not aser it. Thorns is not anything that's of use, so therefore this is not considered to be kalayim. Ella dava shekamayu mekaymin. If it's something that you could use it for something, then this is something that will be kalayim, if it's edible. But just thorns amongst the vineyard, that's not kalayim. Okay, so now the Gemara explains, so what was the basis of Rabbi Lazar's opinion? Why is this kalayim? If you would have karkaim, which is saffron, whatever that is, and if that's you allow it to be amongst the vineyard, so chazi, that's something that's you can eat. It's used for something, so that's why it would be kalayim in a vineyard. Allowing thorns to grow amongst the vineyard, why would this be kalayim? My time at Rabbi Lazar, what's the basis of Rabbi Lazar's opinion? Shekem ba'arbia, mekayim kaitzim b'sadis legamalein. In Arabia, over there, they use the thorns and they leave it there to grow, and they do have a use of it because they feed their camels with this, and therefore this will be considered kalayim. Okay, now the Gemara goes back to the halacha of a shchiv mirah. Amar Rab Levi said that kainin kinyan mishchiv mirah afilu b'Shabbos. You can make a kinyan for a shchiv mirah that wants to give away his things before he passes away, and that's even on Shabbos. So you're going to make a kinyan with a handkerchief, and that's to be done even on Shabbos. Even though usually Chacham will geyser on Shabbos, you can't do any mekch memker. You can't do any sale transactions on Shabbos because it's exeter. You come to write on Shabbos, so you're not allowed to make any transactions on Shabbos. But over here, though, with this kinyan for the shchiv mirah is allowed to be done on Shabbos. And the Gemara explains, "V'loi lochash l'divrei Rabbi Lazar." It's not because we're saying this based on the opinion of Rabbi Lazar that said before that you must make a kinyan in order for the sale of the shchiv mirah to take effect. Ella, the reason why we're saying that this is allowed on Shabbos is because Shema Titarev Daita Yalav. For the very same reason that we said that by a shchiv mirah, the gift that he says he wants to give takes effect without a kinyan, in order for him not to get disappointed, in order for him to be calm and confident, or otherwise this person can die even before his time. So same thing over here, even if we don't need the kinyan, but the shchiv mirah may want to have dafka kinyan to be sure that what he's saying should take effect. So therefore, we will be allowed to make this kinyan even on Shabbos in order for him not to get disturbed. Chachamim allow this. Okay, let's see one more mishnah if we can. It's just to finish over here. It's not a long kinyan over here. It's on the same subject. Sagt der Heilige Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer Reimer. Rabbi Eliezer says. So over here, in this Mishnah, it's Rabbi Eliezer, so it's not to be confused with Rabbi Elazar in the previous Mishnah. So Rabbi Eliezer says, B'Shabbos, Dvar of Kayamin. On Shabbos, when a Shchimera wants to give a gift, then his words, without any kinyan, without any action of a kinyan, will take effect. And the reason why at this time on Shabbos he can give without a kinyan, because it's Shabbos, so you can't write. So therefore, we don't want him to make any kinyan. But not during the week. During the week over here, since you could make a kinyan, so therefore let him make a kinyan. And we're not concerned that he may get disappointed if you require a kinyan. You can make a kinyan. Rabbi Shua says no, the opposite. B'Shabbos Omru. It's regarding Shabbos that it said that if a Shchimera wants to give a gift, that his words take effect without a kinyan. And Kavachayim B'Chayil. And most definitely in the weekday, it'll take effect without a kinyan. The Rashbam says that in the weekday, which is a time that you could make a kinyan, there's more of a svara that you don't even need a kinyan. An example for this, the Rashbam says, is by the halachas by Kotchim, when you have the korban mincha, where you bring the flour and the oil for the korban mincha, if you put it in a bowl that it can't be mixed, then it's a problem. But if you put it in a bowl that it could be mixed, even if you don't mix it, it's okay. So over here, the fact that it's in a weekday where you could make a kinyan, there's more of a svara to say that it would take effect, even that the chachamim's takana should apply here, that it should take effect without a kinyan. A similar kind of argument is regarding a different case, Zachin Lekatan. So Rabbi Elazar says, or Rabbi Eliezer that is, Rabbi Eliezer says, Zachin Lekatan. You could, one person could be Zeiche in something for the sake of a cotton. That's even without a cotton, asking him to do this, and even without his knowledge at all. You can be Zeiche, so you can acquire something for the sake of the cotton. This is the halacha, this is what's called Zechiyah. You Zeiche in something for someone, even without being a shliach. But but you can't be zeiche in something for a gadol because the gadol is able to make his own kinyan. Buy a cotton because he's not able to make his own kinyan, so you zeiche for the sake of the cotton. But and that's a takanas chachamim. According to Rabbi Eliezer, that's a takanas chachamim because the cotton can't be zeiche. But by a gadol, you can't be zeiche for the gadol without his permission, without him appointing you as a shliach. He has to be zeiche in it for himself. Rabbi Shua says no. L'cotton amru. That Chachamim said that even for a cotton you could be zeiche without him telling you, without him asking you. And kavachayim legadol. Definitely for a gadol you can be zeiche for him since he could make a kinyan for himself. That's only more of a reason why you should be able to be zeiche for him. So over here you see the same concept. The fact that the gadol could be zeiche, that's only more of a reason that you should be able to be zeiche for him. And we follow, like Rabbi Shua's opinion, this is b'chlal the concept that you find in Shas, Zechiyah, you could always be zeiche for someone, as long as it's something that's a benefit for him. Even if he never appointed you as a shliach, you could be zeiche for someone, in something for someone. And there's a big discussion in Rishonim about this, regarding this concept of Zechiyah. Taisus over here brings that Zechiyah is mitam shlichus. That Zechiyah is the same thing like when someone appointed you as a shliach. Even if he didn't clearly appoint you, but the fact that it's for his benefit means that we know that he would appoint you, that he wants you to do this for him. So therefore you could be zeiche for him, whether it's a cotton, whether it's a gadol. Okay. 1 second. Let's see the Gemara until the Mishnah. Masnisin Mani, who's this Mishnah? Rabbi Yehuda. The way the Mishnah here brings the argument between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shua is following Rabbi Yehuda's version of this machlokes. And here the Gemara is going to bring a braise where there's a different version of this machlokes. The Tanya and a braise we learned Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir, the way he quoted this machlokes is actually sort of the opposite of our Mishnah. That Rabbi Eliezer says, B'choil, in the weekday, Dvar of Kayamin, the words of a Shchimera will take effect because of the svara that we said before. Since in the weekday you could make a kinyan, so you don't even need the kinyan. So over here he's quoting that he's saying that after the weekday takes effect because you could write and make a kinyan. On Shabbos when you can't make a kinyan, here's where we say that it's missing. The kinyan is missing, and you're going to have a kinyan. So the words of the Shchimera will not take effect. Rabbi Shua says, B'choil amru. Chachamim instituted and said regarding the weekday that it would take effect without a kinyan. And definitely on Shabbos, when you can't make a kinyan, it will take effect because you can't. Okay, so here you see mamish the opposite svara that according to Rab Meir, when you can't make a kinyan on Shabbos, so then that's the reason why we say that his word should take effect without a kinyan because you can't make a kinyan. Now, in this version, the way Rab Meir quotes it, also the opposite of our Mishnah, Zachin legadol. So Rabbi Eliezer says that you can be zeiche for a gadol. Since this gadol can be zeiche, so then therefore you're also able to be zeiche for him. Ve'ein zachin lekatan, but cotton, you can't make a kinyan in something for the sake of a cotton, since the cotton himself can't, so you can't do it for him. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer, this is Rabbi Eliezer's opinion. Okay, now Rabbi Shua says, Begadol amru. They said that you could be zeiche in something for someone if he's a gadol. Definitely the cotton, since the cotton can't be zeiche for himself, definitely you could do it for him. So here the svara, the way Rab Meir brings it, is the exact opposite of our Mishnah. That when he can't do it, it's more of a svara that you should be able to do it for him. Now Rabbi Yehuda says, and this is here quoting the Machlekes exactly the way we just learned it in the Mishnah. Amar Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Eliezer, that is, Rabbi Eliezer says, B'Shabbos the word of Kayomin, that the words of a Shchiv Mirah on Shabbos, his words take effect, because he can't write. Avalei b'chol, but not during the week when he could write and he could make a kinyan. Then he has to make a kinyan. Rabbi Shua and then Rabbi Shua says, like we learned in the Mishnah, B'Shabbos Amru, that on Shabbos it was said that a Shchiv Mirah does not have to make any kinyan, his words are enough. And Kavachayim b'chol, definitely in the weekdays, since he could write and could make a kinyan, so then Adarab, it's more mistava that Chachamim would institute that we don't actually require the kinyan. And Kayetzabay, and similar, Zachan lekatan, ve'ein Zachan legadol, divrei Rabbi Eliezer, you can be zeicha for a katan, since he can't make a kinyan, but for a gadol that could make a kinyan for himself, you cannot be zeicha for him. That's Rabbi Eliezer. And Rabbi Shua says, lekatan amru, you can be zeicha even for a katan that can't make a kinyan for himself. Kavachayim legadol, definitely if it's for a gadol that could make a kinyan for himself, you're able to be zeicha for him as well.